friends, welcome to my channel Story House of Bani. Today we are going to listen to the story of Rapunzel from Uncle Moon's Fairy Tales. You can get this book from the description below and get it from Amazon. So let's start with today's story. Many years ago, there lived a man with his pretty wife. They had a beautiful little house, but they had no child. They felt miserable whenever they saw other children playing in front of their house. They always longed for a child of their own to love and look after. Near their house was a big mansion. It belonged to a wicked witch. The mansion had a pretty garden. Green lettuces growing in the garden always tempted the wife. She said to her husband one day, "I want one of those lettuces. If I don't get it, I shall die." Her husband heard about the witch, so he tried to dissuade the woman from her silly demand. But she grew weaker and weaker as the days passed. One day, she fell seriously ill. The man loved his wife dearly. Not able to see her suffering, he decided to try his luck. As soon as he entered the garden, he was confronted by the witch. "How dare you come here?" she asked. The man told her everything. The witch permitted the man to take the lettuces only if he agreed to hand over his firstborn child to her. The man had no choice. He returned with lettuces and a heavy heart. In due course, the wife gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. The couple was delighted. The man had forgotten the word he had given to the witch, but the witch did not forget it. She at once came to their house and reminded the man of his promise. The woman started weeping bitterly, but it had no impact on the wicked witch. She snatched the baby from the mother's arm. Separation from her child made the woman sad once again. The witch took the baby girl to her castle. She looked after her very well and provided her with every comfort. She named her Rapunzel. As the days rolled by, Rapunzel grew into a beautiful damsel. To keep Rapunzel away from the eyes of the people, the witch shut her up in a tall tower in a forest. The tower had no door and no staircase. It had only one small window at the top. No one ever visited that place except the witch, who went there to see Rapunzel every day. On reaching the tower, she would call out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Rapunzel would lower her golden hair to the ground below. Her hair was so long that it reached from the top of the tower right down to the ground. The witch would climb the tower with the help of Rapunzel's lovely hair. Reaching the top, she would enter through the small window. Months and years rolled out, but Rapunzel was never allowed to come out of the tower. Her life became miserable. She felt choked and isolated in the tower. Rapunzel had not seen another living person except the witch for a long time. She longed to see the outer world. She desired to see the wonders of nature. One day, lonely Rapunzel was singing a melodious song. A prince riding on his horse passed by the tower and heard the song. The prince had never heard such a sweet voice in his life. He was fascinated. He wanted to meet the singer. He hid himself behind the bushes nearby. As usual, the witch came near the tower and called out to Rapunzel and climbed the tower. The prince from behind the bushes was seeing all this. That evening, after the witch had left, the prince came out of the bushes and called, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down her hair." Rapunzel lowered her hair and the prince climbed the tower. Seeing a young man, Rapunzel was dumbstruck. The prince too was enthralled by her beauty. They fell in love at the first sight. Before the prince left, he promised her, "Don't lose heart. I will be back tomorrow night to rescue you." Saying so, he returned to his palace. When the witch came the next day, she found Rapunzel in ecstasy. On inquiry, she came to know that Rapunzel had met a young man and had fallen in love with him. The witch flew into a rage. She cut off Rapunzel's lovely golden hair with a pair of scissors. Rapunzel could do nothing but cry. She could not bear the loss of her golden hair. The witch did not stop at that alone. She took her to a faraway desert and left her there all to herself. The witch then returned to the tower and waited for the prince's arrival. The prince reached the tower riding on his horse. He dismounted from his horse and tied it to a nearby tree. He called out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." The witch, on hearing the prince's call, lowered the golden hair to the ground. The prince happily and hurriedly climbed the tower only to find the witch in place of Rapunzel. Seeing the prince, the witch flew into a rage. The prince couldn't understand anything. He was so terrified to see the witch that he jumped off the window. As he landed into the bushes below, he injured his eyes. As a result, he was blinded. The prince could not bear the pangs of separation. He could no longer think of life without Rapunzel. He roamed about the jungle. His life had become a hell. He had not eaten anything for a long time. One day, in a lonely desert, he heard the same sweet voice he had never forgotten. He cried out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel." Rapunzel ran towards him. As she hugged him, tears of joy rolling down her cheeks fell on the prince's eyes and healed them. The prince could see once again. The joy of reunion had no bounds for both of them. Time seemed to have stopped as they sat hand in hand in a lonely desert. As they came out of their trance, it was already dusk. The prince took her to his big palace. Both were married with great pomp and show. Rapunzel, particularly, was very happy. The prince had rescued her from the clutches of the witch. The prince, too, was very grateful to her for giving him back his lost eyesight. Both the prince and Rapunzel lived happily thereafter. Hope you loved listening to the story. To listen to more stories, please subscribe my channel. Thank you. Bye for today. See you in my next video.